What's a company secret you can share now because you don't work there anymore? In the early 2000s, the big animation studios in the USA all colluded to informally stop hiring anyone currently working in the other studios within the agreement. This had a huge impact on wage growth for animation artists who couldn't move within the industry. 10 years later, a class action lawsuit had them all sued and settling for well over $150 million to the workers who experienced this sort of wage theft. Yes, House of Mouse, Shrek, all the big names were doing it. The prepared foods at Whole Foods are straight out of an industrial-size Cisco container. 35 inches on any phone at Lowe's will get you access to the store paging, intercom system. Spectrum call centers use Fios for internet access. Their own service couldn't handle the demand. That we cleaned the whole store down during COVID every night. You know we didn't, I'm just confirming we didn't. Not really a secret, but you know those conventions where you put your card in a jar for a random prize? I was walking by the sales office after and they were taking them out one by one, discussing who's the most important, and deciding who the winner should be. Edit fixed to your mistake I know, unforgivable. Customers pay a premium because the iron used for a company I worked for was made in America. It is made in America after they peel off the Made in India sticker. I worked at a casino that had the vault separated from the parking lot by an uninsulated, non-load bearing, empty wall with sheetrock on one side and a stucco surface on the outside. On any given day the vault contained several million in small bills, but I've seen that room with a mid-8-figure sum after a big weekend. They've changed the layout now, but for a while there the only protections that room had were cameras and obscurity. At Comcast, if you ever were unable to pay bills, we would set payment plans. You would need to do a minimum payment, but it'd keep your service on, and the minimum could be paid later. If you were nice, we could also waive up to $100. You need a representative with knowledge to waive the previous balance versus coming balance, or it could get applied to the next billing cycle. If you fell really far behind, collections external, you could set up a payment plan and get your bills reduced by up to 70%. We also see every porno you rent and how long you've watched it, what room, and how many times you turned it on, off. The plant has over 10 years without a lost time accident. That's because if someone gets hurt bad enough to miss work, they're suddenly, training, either at a desk in the office or, more often, working from home. Plant line workers working from home, yeah right. I've seen dudes drugged out of their gourds, with bandages and drainage tubes asleep at a PC doing training. The company wins safety awards from the state every year. I worked for a poker site. We had staff members who were experienced poker players playing cash games to win money from our players. Yes, they could also see what the other players had and what cards were coming on flop, turn and river. I worked in security so knew all about this but was basically told I'd get sacked and get a heavy beating if it ever got out. Those employees at Claire's that pierce your ears? They can literally just be 15/16-year-old kids with no work experience, literally on their first day at their very first job, told to go out and start piercing ears. Just pretend you've done this before. I was one of those kids. Every single one of you has eaten food that was well out of its proper temperature range for an extended period of time at some point in the supply chain. If you dump grandma's ashes in a ride at an amusement park, grandma is going to end up in a vacuum cleaner bag in the trash. If you dump her ashes outside, they will be swept up and trashed or hosed down into the sanitary sewer drain. Grandma is definitely not spending eternity in the haunted mansion. The feature we advertised? Just a team of interns doing it manually.